Hello, and welcome to another episode of Taylor Talks Comics. Today, we're going to talk about Alex Toth, and more specifically, the Genius Illustrated Trilogy that Dean Mulaney put together. Please stay tuned. Okay, so these are a trilogy of books that Dean Mulaney put together with IDW, and they're covering the life and career of Alex Toth, one of the absolute masters of cartooning and of comic book art. These were just recently reprinted in these oversized paperback editions. They were previously released in hardcovers, which I think the trim size of the hardcovers is the same. Someone in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong. But these are what the spines look like. They're titled Genius Isolated, Genius Illustrated, and Genius Animated. And they are oversized. To give you a comparison, this is the size of your normal comic book size, this Epic collection here. And, sorry, my bookmark's probably in the way there. You see that it's taller than it, wider than it. So they are oversized, which is nice. Even in their paperback versions. Here's the back of the first one. The back of the second one. And the back of the third one. So I had a viewer request to go over these. I appeared on the Omnidogs Vault YouTube channel recently with Jess, one of my favorite comic book fans to talk to about comics. If you want to check that episode out, you can always check it out at the Omnidogs Vault YouTube channel if you go under the Live tab and check that out. Please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. And if you want to buy great comic books like this one or any other ones, please go to organicpricebooks.com and you want to shop for whatever you want to, put it in your cart. And then as you're checking out, use the promo code Taylor Talks Comics, all one word, Taylor Talks Comics, and that will give you $2 off your order, and you'll help support the channel because I get a little bit of kickback that way. If you want to put a bigger order in with organicpricebooks.com and order 4 or more books, then you can put in the promo code TTC Ship It Together. That's all one word. TTC Ship It Together. That's all one word. And you can save 5% off of your order. All right, so this is the first one that came out. This is Genius Isolated. It's titled as such because Alex Toth was a bit of a recluse himself, a bit of a curmudgeon, people would say. But these books are all amazing, and they all kind of go through 3 different chapters of Alex Toth's life. And these are my favorite kind of comic book history, coffee table type books, because it is a combination of artwork, essays, and biography, writing about Alex Toth and his career, and then also comics. There's a lot of Alex Toth comics within all of these books here. So this first one, you can see a lot of different works from his childhood, pictures from his childhood, his early inspirations like Terry and the Pirates, maybe some of the movies and stuff that inspired him. But then you're going to get a lot of his early comics. And here's some of his early war comics. Some ad art that he was doing. I do love the combination too. There's a combination of fully printed color, finished version of some of his comics, and then some of them are like the original art version where you can see like the lettering pasted up on there, some whiteout, and some of the line work in like in the writing in the margins. You see, I think you kind of see some of his methods of maybe tools and stuff. You might be able to pick out what he's using there. This one appeared in an issue of Green Lantern, this page, which IDW is known for their artist editions. So who better than them to put this together? But Dean Mulaney, I got to give credit to him and Bruce Canwell. They both did a great job putting this together. It took years and years and years of research and hunting down certain pieces of artwork, interviewing people, and everything like that. So really just a fascinating way to read comics and to learn about history all at the same time. But Alex Toth was really well known as an artist for his abilities to get the most out of the fewest lines possible. And if these are pretty detailed here, you can see some zipatone being used on these original art pages. But you can see, like, on some of his faces, like, there's just a few spare lines being used. But it all reads. It all reads exactly like what it's supposed to. Whether it be, I think is this his Bravo stuff? Oh, Danger Trail. I just recognize that character. And then also he's great with like figures and faces and just being able to turn them all different directions and it still read as like that same character. And one of the things that someone pointed out in the writing of one of these volumes was how Alex Toth could draw like hundreds and hundreds of different faces and characters and it never looks the same. So sometimes you'll hear like same face syndrome that some artists have where every character kind of looks the same. Like all their men look the same, all the women look the same. As far as their faces go, so it's kind of hard to tell apart, especially in black and white. But Alex Toth was so good at making each face look distinct and each character look and stand out as original. And also this too, because this is going to show some John Fury strips here, but they tell you the background history of John Fury, and then you get some strips showing them off. And again, a different way of printing these, because these are like just looks like high quality scans or maybe photographs of printed comic book pages. And I kind of like that mixed media. It's kind of like, it literally feels like Dean Mulaney and Bruce Canwell were hunting and binding together all these different comics they could find from Alex Toth. But it's an absolute true masterclass. Zorro is one of the characters he worked with. Absolute masterclass of comic book art and cartooning. That's the first one. That's Genius Isolated. And then Genius Illustrated is going to be like the prime of his comic book years when he was still making comics. Here's like a unfinished page. He used to get the pencils and a little bit of the inks. And he's even working out the lettering at the bottom. It's really fun to see. But yeah, Alex Toth lived a very like tragic and like I said earlier, he was kind of curmudgeonly. A lot of his peers, if you're on his good side and he was one of your mentors, then he absolutely was a joy to have around, and he would be very free with his time and teach you anything he could teach you. But if you're on his bad side, it was a whole nother story. According to a lot of the articles and stuff you'll find in here. But yeah, so here's another just great combination of comics art. And then he started to get to a little bit of his animation work. Space Ghost was one of the characters that he really is well known for doing the character design of. And again, especially in animation, you have to use as spare line as possible because it makes the animation easier and cheaper when there's as fewer lines as possible. So a guy like Alex Toth is perfect for animation. You just think like this very blank white canvas of the Space Ghost outfit, but it all reads. You can still see the muscles, the definition. Still a great costume. And in here too, you're gonna see a lot of these character designs and stuff for different animation that some of them were never even used. So the fact that Dean Mulaney and Bruce Canwell were able to track these down is just tremendous. And this is amazing. So this is the page from X-Men number 12. The layout was by Jack Kirby, but Alex Toth drew over the top of Jack Kirby's layouts, and then Vince Coletta was the inker. So that page is really interesting. You can find this in the volume 1 of the Silver Age Omnibus or any other. That's like the early period of X-Men, back in the Silver Age. It's really cool that that's in there. Rude Awakening. I do love this collection too because it tells you exactly where these came from, which is always a good annotation to have with collection full of all these different comics that came out with different publishers and different eras and what have you. It's just really cool how they make the choice to do comic book printing and then actual original art scans and that kind of thing. I just can't. These books are must-haves for any sort of comic book historian, anybody that wants to learn a little bit about comic book history, because Alex Toth truly is one of the masters. Here's a good guidebook of how to make TV cartoons. The whole thing's in here. Again, if you're a aspiring artist for comics, then you have to pick these up. Like, there's just so much to learn from a guy like Alex Toth in everything, whether it be lettering or it be figure drawing, faces, the character designs, which is where you're gonna get a lot from a lot of the animation parts and stuff. There's just so much to learn as a aspiring comic book maker in all of these. And the last one is called The Cartoon Art of Alex Toth. It's Genius Animated. This is where we're going to get to a lot more of his animation stuff. I should say, too, this is an imprint of IDW. It's the Library of American Comics, which I'm unsure about. I think Library of American Comics is now officially with Clover Press and not with IDW. I don't know. These were all just recently reprinted. They're all in print still. You can still pick up all three of these. The paperback versions. The hardcover versions are a little bit harder to come by. But I know Curtis over at the Epic Marvel Podcast actually works with Library of American Comics. I should ask him. Or Clover Press. I don't know who his official employer is. But he does a lot of restoration on some of the For Better or Worse comic strips. Those hardcover collections. These are great too. These are storyboards of animation scenes that Alex Toth was in charge of, which I've always thought that storyboards, we have a lot of comic book artists that go on to make storyboards for Hollywood, but they read just like comics. It's just still images with some dialogue written down underneath. So like a collection of storyboards from some comic book artists would be an awesome idea. Like I know like Steve Skroce went over to do the Matrix storyboards, for instance. Like that'd be a really cool book to have, like Steve Skroce artwork on those storyboards. This, again, if you're an aspiring artist and you want to look at character designs and stuff like this, you have to have this book just to pour through everything Alex Toth was able to get, especially with just a few lines. I don't know. It's absolutely amazing what you can get in here. Here's some more storyboards in the back. Here's looks like Super Friends. He worked on that series as well. So you do get some Big Two characters in here from time to time. That's a great piece. Ghost Girl. Dial H for Heroes. Like I said, some of these cartoons in here too never came to fruition. Like they never got actually made. But they paid Alex Toth to do some of these character designs and test outs to like where they would package them together and then give them to a studio for testing. Here's okay, this is Dune Patrol, not to be confused with Doom Patrol, but it looks like they may have had some notes for him about his character designs and he went and redid them. Like it looks like two different artists. He's so good at different faces. This is Super Cop. I don't know if this ever came out. Let me know if Super Cop ever came out. But look, these are like a million different types of designs for costumes for Super Cop that he came up with. Super Scouts. Thundar. That's the series that Jack Kirby worked on as well, I believe. Thundar the Barbarian. Imagine that, a cartoon being worked on by Alex Toth and Jack Kirby, and it never became a big hit. Something tells me it wasn't due to the artwork. Here's Alex Toth working on Spider-Man. Imagine a Spider-Man comic drawn by Alex Toth. Like, that's absolutely brilliant. And then the Hulk would be cool too. As far as I know, though, I think for Marvel, Alex Toth's only work, like as far as Marvel superheroes go, is just that one issue of X-Men. DC, he has a bigger catalog, and people have asked for like a Alex Toth collection of all of his DC work. He did a lot of work in like the House of Mystery and House of whatever the other one's called, like those horror anthologies that are kind of like the EC Comics. But yeah, so this is the trilogy of Alex Toth. It's the Genius Isolated, Genius Illustrated, and Genius Animated. If you're aspiring cartoonist, you have to pick up these books. I really do think you need to have them on your shelf just to pull off for some inspiration or to learn things from within. If you're a fan of comic book history, I definitely pick these up. Or if you're just a fan of great comics and great comic book art, I think that you would get something out of this. But yes, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And remember the organic price books, promo codes, Taylor Talks Comics, all one word, or TTC, ship it together. All the information is down below as far as that goes. And then as far as other ways to contact me and other social media platforms, that's all down below as well. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Keep reading comics.